like I said, I get it. But again, I always felt a little obligated to eat a little bit of turkey. Beverly says, I love jelly cranberry sauce, but really dislike the whole cranberry sauce. Yuck. Here's the other thing. I think that people feel obligated to eat certain things. There's, especially, did you ever have that person in the family that makes something for every occasion and somehow you're trying to be nice and you're like, oh, yeah, it's so good. And then they bring it to every event because you lied to them. You told them you really enjoyed it, and now they keep bringing it, so now you have to keep eating it. You really only have yourself to blame. I know you were trying to be nice, but now you're stuck. Now you're stuck. You got to eat that crap for as long as you live. It happened to me with a member of my family makes a particular picnic item. Somehow, everyone is convinced this person that this is the best they've ever had. I don't like it at all. And I'll tell you, if you even hint that this person's is not the best, they'll come at you. They'll come at you. What do you mean? Mine's the best. You know mine's the best. You know mine's the best. All right, I guess I'll keep lying to you. So, there you go. I understand if you have to eat something you don't like because it's out of obligation. But try not to do that too much because there's so much yumminess on a Thanksgiving table. We are going to my sister-in-law's for Thanksgiving this year. She is a little fancy with her cooking. She one year put out an actual menu. So we'll see. She sometimes, for me, I want a good old-fashioned, low-down, basic turkey dinner for Thanksgiving. And that's just not her style. She likes to fancy everything up. So I'm going in with an open mind. Maybe I'll bring something that I know that I will like. There's going to be turkey. I'm pretty sure there will be mashed potatoes and stuffing. I should be good to go. So we shall see. But I typically, my favorites at Thanksgiving is the mashed potatoes, the stuffing, and the green bean casserole. I could eat those leftovers for a week, and I probably will. So on to today's blog post. I'm talking about social media today. It can make you or break you. Now, I posted a picture on my blog of the very first post that Ms. Rachel Hollis liked of mine. And, of course, if you don't know Rachel Hollis, she is of Girl Stop Apologizing fame. And she went on to like another of other posts. Now, she was able to view these because I used the hashtag Rise Business that I attended, which allows anyone to scroll through any post with that hashtag. Now, she hasn't liked a post of mine since day 2 of the conference, and I feel so used. I mean, I thought we were on our way to being besties, and now it's like crickets. I'm kidding, of course, but some people take social media way too seriously. Now, social media is great. I'm a big fan of it. I got on the Facebook train fairly early in 2008. I still remember sitting at my desk in my studio signing up for Facebook. It was the same day I signed up for MySpace. Poor MySpace. Now, I have had an account on Instagram for years, but just recently started using it on a regular basis. Now, these outlets, along with Pinterest, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, great tools for my business. It can also be a huge time suck and can keep me distracted for hours. Especially after I first make a post, I check back constantly to see if anyone has responded to it. And I don't know if you know this, but if you have a business page of an account, it will show you how many people have seen it. So I'm not necessarily just looking for likes or comments, but also how many people the post has reached. So I have to choose my time on social media wisely. I have to make sure I'm not wasting too much time. And when I was working in an office every day, I had Facebook up the entire time I was at work. It was very distracting at times. Sometimes I would be live on the radio and I would see that little notification light up. And honestly, sometimes took everything in me not to just click on that real quick to see who said what about my whatever. That is taking it way too seriously. I needed to bring it down a notch. Some people follow a schedule when it comes to social media. So, for instance, check out Facebook for 15 minutes in the morning, then not again until lunch, then not again until after you get home from work. You get it. The more you post on social media, the more you are a slave to it. So, post sparingly unless you're trying to promote something like I am with a business, because it's all part of my plan, my business plan. It's part of my promotion and advertising. Now, the other major issues with social media is how it makes you feel. It can make you feel like the most wonderful, beautiful person on earth, but it can also make you feel like a total loser. There's always some bad with the good. And honestly, there are just some really, really hateful people out there. People who love to stir the pot and make people feel bad. You need to just keep scrolling. If someone says something hurtful to you, either ignore it or, I welcome it. Do a slap back, but don't take it too seriously. I used to get into these political debates with people on Facebook. When I would post something, my heart rate would go up. I would get really nervous about what would be said back. It was like I was in fight mode, but online. I had all the same physical feelings of being in an actual fight. So I finally stopped doing that because it was unhealthy and honestly was just stupid. But I just got yelled at by someone on Instagram for using a hashtag they thought I shouldn't have been using. I did talk about this, so bear with me if you've heard this story. As I mentioned earlier, when it comes to Instagram, the use of hashtags puts your posts in places they normally wouldn't show up. So it exposes you and your content to a whole other audience. I had been talking about a fat cat named Cinderblock in one of my podcasts, so I used the hashtag when I promoted the episode. Some guy ended up asking me why I was using the hashtag. What does this have to do with Cinderblock? I told him I discussed the cat in my podcast. He responded by telling me that's a shoddy reason, and I'm ruining Instagram. Ruining it? Now, that is a guy that is taking social media way too seriously. I actually had to laugh because it was so absurd. The thought that I was ruining Instagram because I used a hashtag about a fat cat that someone didn't like is ridiculous. I may have gotten really super upset about something like that in the past, but I've learned to realize it's not that big a deal. In fact, I considered him the first hater of the Hopefulist, and it got me really excited. You know you are making progress when you get the haters. Now, I just came back from my Rise Business Conference, and as Rachel Hollis said, even the most beautiful, amazingly talented people in the world get horrible comments on their feed every single day. She said, go look at some of the most followed celebrities, and there will be hateful comments on every post. And then she mentioned Taylor Swift. She says, she made the baller move of actually turning off commenting for her posts. That way it doesn't affect her at all. You can still get your content out there and don't have to listen to the haters. So you handle it however you would like to. But please, don't pay attention to someone who is being negative about your posts. The person is probably a jerk if they are being hateful, so ignore them. That is probably what would hurt them back the most. Rachel even went on to give a scenario where, what you have to do is compare these hateful comments on your post to somebody who would come up to you in a supermarket and say them to your face. What would you do if somebody came up to you in the supermarket while you were minding your own business, doing your shopping, and started saying all these hateful things that people tend to say in social media posts? You'd probably call security. You as sure as heck would go the other way. You might put your cart away and say, you know what, I'll come back later and shop. You would pay no attention to them. You would think they are crazy. They're crazy. Might shake you up a little bit, but in the end, you're like, okay, they're crazy. You don't pay attention to crazy people. You don't let crazy people affect your own self-esteem and self-worth. Come on. Get out of the grocery store, the crazies. That's how you should think about it. So, it is Taco Tuesday, y'all. That's right. I'm keeping the y'all for a little bit. Go grab a taco. Take your social media use down a notch, maybe. Just a notch. You will probably have a lot more time for some real life experiences. Doesn't that sound fun? Now I want you to go make it your best day yet.
Thank you for listening to The Hopefulist, hosted by Wendy McClure. For more inspiration, please visit Hopefulist.com. Thanks, and we'll see you tomorrow on The Hopefulist.
Ellen, have me on your show.